Just ahead, the Minnesota State Fair is as popular as ever, and one of the coolest attractions on display, the butter carvings. We're going to take you inside that cooler. Plus, 6th and 9th graders in Rochester Public Schools are starting off a new year of learning today, a day early to help get adjusted. We're going to get expert advice to help get the year off to a strong start. And a child was hurt when a man drove right into a mobile home near Rochester. Your news at noon starts now.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Good afternoon, I'm Jess Abrahamson. First today at noon, a South Dakota man was killed and several student athletes from Waseca High School were hurt in a crash Saturday night. Their school bus and a Mustang collided on I-90. Heidi Wigdahl has more on what happened.
Not really a phone call you want to get.
Waseca High School volleyball players were headed home from their first competition of the season when their school bus crashed. The Minnesota State Patrol says it happened around 8:45 Saturday night in Foster Township, about 20 miles west of Albert Lee. A Ford Mustang headed westbound collided with the school bus traveling eastbound.
Just very chaotic and lots of tears, and from the girls as well as from parents, and very scary.
Michelle Mummy says her 14-year-old daughter Emily is unsure of what happened.
She was sitting in the second row on the right side, and she said she was just looking at her phone, and she said all of a sudden everything went black, and I woke up and everybody was screaming.
About 30 girls were on the bus from all three teams. At least 7 girls went to the hospital for minor injuries. Emily has neck and chest pain and a possible concussion.
Yeah, my heart was in my throat, and yeah, it was just scary.
The 55-year-old driver of the Mustang, Mark Tigner of Brandon, South Dakota, died from his injuries. State Patrol is investigating the cause of the crash. Waseca Public Schools Superintendent Eric Hudspeth, he said, quote, "We are fortunate that none of our staff and students were seriously hurt and are heartbroken this happened."
A number of girls last night, and my kid included, say, I don't want to get on another bus. I think the emotional stuff it's going to last a while.
It's unclear how many players may be out for upcoming matches because of their injuries. As far as support, parents tell me the team will be meeting here Monday to be together.
So scary. A driver crashed into a mobile home near Rochester late Saturday night, injuring a child. According to the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, a 27-year-old man from Rochester was driving a Ford Edge when he lost control on a road on the west edge of Orinoco Estates and went through a grassy yard, eventually hitting a mobile home and then got stuck under it. People were inside at the time. An 11-year-old girl was hurt. Her foot was cut on some broken glass. The driver was taken to Mayo Clinic St. Mary's Hospital. According to the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, the driver did show signs of alcohol impairment. A search warrant was prepared and a blood draw was taken. Charges are currently pending. Let's talk about weather now. As we start off a new work week, meteorologist Ted Schmidt is joining us from out on the weather patio. Nice and bright out there, Ted.
It is a very pleasant day, Jess. Temperatures are warming very quickly. We started the morning in the 50s. In fact, at the airport, we were in the low 50s for much of the morning, right around sunrise. But now we've made our way into the 70s, and we're looking for low 80s, something we didn't do over the weekend, something a little warmer than the seasonal average. And a beautiful blue sky kind of day as we work our way through this Monday. That's our Lewis Dodauto camera from Rochester right now. Here at the studio, it's 77 already. Winds are pretty light for the southwest. Not much mugginess, dew point 60. That's not terribly humid for this time of the year. Air pressure is slowly falling. At the airport, it's 77 in Rochester, matching what we have here at the studio, in fact. Winona 79, Mason City 78. We'll add a few more degrees and make our way into the low 80s later on. Skies are generally completely clear. I mean, a blue sky situation. There are showers that will develop from the northwest. Nothing really in our immediate future now, but we may see something pop up closer to sunset this evening, just at the end of the evening commute. So we'll be tracking maybe a brief shower in our future today. Allergy report, moderate for ragweed, but high for trees and very high for dust, and level 6 out of the scale of 1 to 10 for the UV index today. Outlook today, the weather almanac, 77, the seasonal average. We started actually cooler than average, but we've already made it to 77, kind of a transitional day as we warm up very quickly. Sunset 7:53, and looking at the rest of our Monday, 81. There's a chance for a shower, maybe a stray thunderstorm after about 6 or 7 this evening, just for a couple of hours. The rest of the week looks drier, though, and we are going to see some variety, some pretty mild days, but a whole lot of heat also headed our way. We'll have the full details in a few minutes.
Today, though, looks just beautiful. Thank you,
Great
Ted.
summer day, yeah.
This is shaping up to be a dangerous week of weather in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis is warning Floridians to prepare as Tropical Storm Idalia is moving toward the state. During a morning news conference at the State Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee, DeSantis announced 46 counties are now under a state of emergency. Idalia is currently forecast to land as a Category 3 hurricane along the state's Gulf Coast on Wednesday. Former President Donald Trump's legal calendar became a bit more clear today with 2 important rulings, one out of Washington, D.C., the other out of Fulton County, Georgia. The judge overseeing former President Trump's election interference case in federal court in Washington set a trial date of March 4th, and that falls in the middle of the Republican presidential primary season and the day before Super Tuesday. Meanwhile, Trump will be arraigned on charges in the Georgia election 1 week from Wednesday. His co-defendants will also be arraigned that day. There are new details in the deadly shooting of 3 black people at a store in Jacksonville, Florida. Police say this was racially motivated, indicating the white 21-year-old gunman left behind a suicide note and pages of hate-filled writings. NBC's Jay Gray has more from Jacksonville.
Hey there, and you can see the scene behind me still locked down at this point. Investigators searching for any evidence that may help them understand how and why this happened. We know the 21-year-old suspect was armed with a pistol and assault rifle. His first victim killed in the parking lot, an employee sitting in his car. Then he walked inside, let some of the customers inside leave before killing 2 of them. As he started to leave the store, police started to move in. He rushed into an office in the store, barricaded himself, and eventually took his life. We know that both of the weapons were purchased legally. The rifle was marked with writings and swastikas. The suspect apparently with no criminal record before this attack. His first stop was just about a mile away at an historically black college. It's Edward Waters University, where he pulled in behind the library there. We know he used it at least as a staging area, putting on a tactical vest and mask, and then was confronted by campus security. There was an exchange, not sure exactly what was said, but he decided to leave, even though the Jacksonville sheriff tells us that he did have an opportunity to open fire there. He chose not to and drove a mile to the store that's just behind us here. This investigation is continuing and will for quite some time. In fact, the FBI now involved in the process. That's the latest from here in Jacksonville. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
This evening, the Albert Lea City Council will vote on expanding no smoking to cannabis products at city parks and other public areas. The current ordinance already bans smoking and chewing tobacco in these spaces. The law change to add cannabis products to the list was introduced 2 weeks ago. Then last week, the Parks and Rec Board voted to recommend the council adopt the ordinance change. That meeting is tonight at 7 at City Hall. It is officially the first week of school for Rochester Public School students, and today 6th graders begin their first year of middle school, and high school freshmen are starting the year a day early as well, so they can check out their new school buildings. Darian Letty joins us with more on the significance of this day. Hi, Darian.
Hey, Jess. Well, today is for the 9th grade students and the 6th grade students to experience the transition to high school and middle school with just their own classmates and school staff, having that school to themselves. Students have to have this day to get comfortable with the school and their new schedules, ask questions, learn the layout of the building, and meet their peers. The goal is so that students can feel less anxious about being in a new place. Mental health specialists say teen anxiety is on the rise. According to a recent study by the CDC, conditions like ADHD and anxiety are common among school-age children. I spoke to folks with Fernbrook Family Center, a southeastern Minnesota mental health service, about this. They say some of the signs that your teen may be experiencing anxiety include tension, irritability, restlessness, and distraction.
It's being able to think about that this could be a problem or this might be a problem, and then hopefully you could do something useful to prepare for it. So for kids, that might mean, I'm anxious, what do I do? Okay, can I go talk to someone about what will my school day look like, or what will this class look like, what will this test look like, gain the information, and then be better prepared.
And there are actually several mental health specialists within RPS schools to help all the students who go there. It's through a program called the School Linked Mental Health Services. Earlier this year, I got the chance to go to Mayo High School, where they visited with a therapy dog. So cute there. It was actually for their first mental health week. So hopefully these students had a smooth transition today as they enter the new school year. Jess?
Oh, yeah, we definitely want everyone to be off to a great start. Thank you, Darian. Today in Rochester, a little end of summer fun, and it's courtesy of Pepsi. Gillette Pepsi Rochester is celebrating 125 years in business, and they're putting on a party worthy of that milestone. This is from 3 until 6 today at their facility on Commercial Drive Southwest. There's going to be a free barbecue, including brats grilled up by the local nonprofit organization Rideability. There will also be free Pepsi, of course, cake and ice cream, and some family fun. The first 125 families will also get some free party favors there. Some National Guard soldiers are heading home to Iowa. And when you think of the Minnesota State Fair, chances are you think of food on a stick and all those amazing butter carvings. We're going to talk 900 pounds of butter. A little fun with that just ahead. The Minnesota State Fair's dairy building is making sculptures good enough to eat. 900 pounds of butter, 10 blocks in all, are being transformed slowly into the finalists and the winner of the 2023 Prince K of the Milky Way competition. Reporter Adam Duxter stepped into that cooler.
Feast your eyes.
The sculptures are beautiful. It's crazy.
As this creation inspires you to take a picture.
It looks like a huge brick.
While also taking a closer look. That is Emma Kubal, and so is this.
I have watched so many people get sculpted out of butter, and it's been my dream for my entire life, so seeing it all come together was such a cool thing.
This year's Princess K of the Milky Way is a 6th-generation dairy farmer. Sculptor Gary Colzer carving her and others in this 40-degree refrigerator.
You have to visualize the person in this big block and carve away. You've got to just take away until a nose appears and the cheeks appear. And it's a matter of, with butter, a subtractive sculpting process. We have a time limit here. We're sculpting a person a day. And so it goes really fast. And there's not much room for error. So I got to try to get it right away.
But when you take the butter's picture or take a bite out of ice cream, the people that run this place say you're supporting thousands of dairy families.
When farmers can take time off and show off what they do, their work, the way they support food systems in the state, it really culminates everything that they do on a day-to-day basis into this is what it's all about.
Which makes wacky.
That seems about right for the State Fair, for sure. I love it.
So worth it.
Just love all of that. The Princess Cake contestants all will end up keeping their own 90-pound block of butter. Kubal says she plans to divvy hers up and use it for butter at a corn roast. So far, State Fair attendance is off to a strong start. Organizers say on opening day, just over 106,000 people visited the fair. That's actually down about 15,000 from last year's first day. But on Friday, fairgoers broke a record with more than 164,000 visitors. On Saturday, numbers were much higher than average, with more than 222,000 people taking part in the Great Minnesota Get Together. Rochester Park is on the grow. Cascade Lake Park is expanding to include a number of new facilities. Those include new playground areas, restroom facilities, as well as outdoor spaces for community events. These renovations are being made in order to make the park an ideal outdoor destination for both local families as well as visitors there. A happy homecoming is on the horizon in Iowa. The 100 The 1133rd Transportation Company is set to return home. We're talking about 160 National Guard soldiers based out of Mason City in Iowa City. They've been deployed on a mission in Poland since last November. We're told the official homecoming ceremony will take place later this year. However, these soldiers should return home before the end of the month. Let's talk more about our Monday. Here's meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
A lot of sunshine today, very comfortable. We're a little warmer than we were over the weekend, but still very typical for late summer. The coming days do look a lot warmer than this, though. We have a long stretch of some pretty hot stuff still in our 7-day forecast, and that's coming up after our midday market report.
Miss part of our newscast? KTTC has you covered.
Your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
So some Rochester students are starting today, but most will start tomorrow, and it's kind of that soak up all the last little bit of summer sun kind of day.
And it's a perfect day to do that. I mean, you really could do just about anything in a day where you reach the low 80s, you have comfortable humidity, you have beautiful blue skies. It is a tremendous day, Jess. Great way to kick off the week, great way to ease back into school for that matter. Here's the current view from some of our Lewiston live cameras as we look live outside on this bright Monday, the last Monday before Labor Day. Temperatures right now in the 70s, close to 80 in most spots, though. Rochester 77, 79 in Albert Lee, 78 Mason City, on our way to about 81 for a high temperature. Now 77 is the seasonal average. We started cooler than average this morning, and already we're above average. We're just about ready to be above average. So it's one of those days where you have quite a big swings in temperature right now. A bit of a southwest breeze helping the cause is that sunshine also key in that equation. Blue sky on the backside of high pressure that's gliding on to the east. We are watching a weak storm system come in for the west. This little weak boundary will trigger perhaps a couple of showers maybe later on. Speaking of active weather, here is Idalia. It is right now a tropical storm, likely to become a hurricane very shortly, moving straight northward, and now by tomorrow approaching Florida. And as we move into that Wednesday morning time frame, here's landfall likely to happen somewhere in northwest Florida, and as we heard earlier in the newscast, massive hurricane or a major hurricane anyway, category 3 with maximum sustained winds potentially at 115 miles per hour. That happens first thing Wednesday morning, moving quickly toward Georgia in the same day, and then out to sea, perhaps hugging the coastline. That's something that bears watching there, as the current computer modeling suggests it would be a tropical storm, but very close to maybe being a hurricane, still impacting 3 additional states, Georgia and the Carolinas both, and then moving out toward Bermuda in the Atlantic. Sunny, warm today with isolated showers, a slow warm up later this week, especially closer to the weekend. It's going to be hot and humid by then, but today, neither hot nor humid, just warm. We'll say it's seasonably warm. A really nice example of late summer weather. Isolated showers pop up as that weak boundary moves in. That's going to happen between about 6, 8, maybe 10 o'clock. A brief shower, maybe a rumble of thunder. Really nothing intense, though. That's the only rain chance we have this week, though. Behind that front, we cool off to the 50s tonight, staying in the 70s tomorrow and for Wednesday before we see that sizable warm up late in the week. Spotty showers, bottom end of the probability scale between 6 and 10 this evening. Otherwise, a beautiful sun-filled afternoon. 81 southwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. A stray shower or thunderstorm this evening. Mainly clear beyond that, though. Lows around 59 with a northwest breeze. And tomorrow, a brisk north breeze, or a cool one anyway, 76. Winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Beautiful late summer day again. Mid-70s on Wednesday. And if that mild stuff gets old, well, we have hot weather. Mid and then upper 80s for the weekend. But what a great looking setup for Labor Day. The entire weekend looking bright and dry. We could use the rain, but I guess if we're not going to have it, might as well have a good Labor Day. And it does look like that whole weekend is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, start making your plans, right?
Yeah, I've been working on it.
Thank you, Ted. Just ahead, back to school is the perfect time to make sure our snacks and lunches are giving us the very best fuel for our day. And Consumer Alert, an eye drop solution is under recall due to risk of contamination. The details next.
Join us for Midwest Access, weekdays at 4 p.m.
The Food and Drug Administration is warning people not to use certain types of eye drops. The agency says it has recalled Dr. Burns MSM Drops 5% solution and Light Eyes MSM eye drops over contamination issues. The FDA says the eye drops could contain potential bacterial contamination, fungal contamination, or both. The warning says users could develop a minor to serious vision-threatening infection, which could possibly progress to a life-threatening infection. The FDA encourages people who have these eye drops to simply throw them out. Healthy eating is important at every age, but especially for growing kids. Research has shown there is a close link between nutrition and learning. According to Mayo Clinic Health System, a healthy diet improves kids' abilities to focus, memory, brain function, behaviors, and moods. So here's a couple ideas for your school lunches as we start packing those up again. Experts recommend including at least 4 food groups in a packed lunch. Grains, aiming for at least 3 ounces, preferably whole wheat, brown rice, or whole oats. Examples would be sandwiches, bagels, tortillas, and quinoa. Protein, lean cuts of meat, poultry, and nuts. Also beans and lentils. Examples: a tortilla with hummus, shredded lettuce, sliced tomatoes, and chicken. Also string cheese, a cup of yogurt, or a handful of nuts. Fruits and veggies. You want to aim for 1.5 to 2 cups of fruit and at least 1.5 cups of vegetables every day. Examples for a school lunch: cucumber slices, celery or carrot sticks, and oranges, bananas, grapes, and apples. Lastly, let's talk about beverages. Milk and water are your best options. Milk is, of course, a great source of calcium. It helps to build those strong bones. Experts say try to avoid juice, pop, or energy drinks, which are high in sugar. Well, here's Howard with what he's up to just ahead in the kitchen.
Today, we're taking everything we love about pepperoni pizza and teaming it with juicy chicken breast. Stick around to see the mouth-watering results. When it comes to pizza, do you know what the most popular topping is? If you guessed pepperoni, you're right. It's a hands-down favorite, which is why we thought, why not take everything we love about a classic pepperoni pizza and team it up with chicken breasts? The results? Well, we'll let you be the judge. To make it, we start by seasoning boneless, skinless chicken breasts with some salt and pepper. This will ensure that every bite is really flavorful. Then we bread each breast with some seasoned breadcrumbs and place them on a baking sheet. After these bake for about 15 minutes, we top each piece with some pizza sauce, a bit of mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, and last but not least, some dried oregano. And now, back into the oven they go until the cheese is all melty. Once they're done, get ready to enjoy a dinner like no other. After all, how can you beat a tasty mashup like this? Plus, when you serve it with a green salad and some garlic rolls, it's doubly good. To get the flavor-packed recipe for our pepperoni pizza chicken, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly, who's wearing her pizza earrings today in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a Mamma Mia way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Pizza earrings.
Clever twist on pizza there, Ted. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good day to wear your pizza earrings out in the sun, I guess. Jess, do you have any? Well, maybe not. We'll hear about that maybe a little bit later. We have some beautiful sunshine happening right now. It is a very comfortable day. Right now on the weather patio, we are up to just about 80 degrees. Even here in the shade, it's feeling extra warm, even warmer than it felt over the weekend. We were in the 70s over the weekend. Today we were going to reach the 80s for the first time since late last week, but we won't be dealing with the scorching heat we had for so much of last week, not the excessive heat warnings. So that's a good thing. Here's the current picture as we look toward the ear of corn in the distance down Broadway. That's live from our Lewis Donato camera in Rochester. It's 79. The wind's light for the southwest, dew point 60, and the air pressure is slowly falling. Right now across the map we have mostly 70s, but we're not far from 80. 77 actually is the technical 30-year climate average for high temperatures. We've already reached that this hour in Rochester, 79. Also in Owatonna, Mesa City, 78. So we'll move up a few more degrees, 81. There's a chance for maybe a brief shower, perhaps a rumble of thunder after about 6:30 or 7 this evening. Just a handful of those until just after sunset. So there's a chance, but pretty sparse. Ted's Trivia, what is the capital of Bermuda? I mentioned this earlier in the newscast. I mentioned Bermuda because, Idalia is kind of moving through Florida, potentially moving in that direction in the Atlantic in a few days. But we'll have that answer coming up. And Jess, perhaps you've even been there. I know you've been so many different places. We will hear all about that, and we'll have the answer in a moment.
I have not been to Bermuda, but I would love to go hang out on one of their lovely pink beaches.
Yeah, it would be cool, especially when it's not so nice here. When it's a little warmer down there. That'd be great.
It sure would. Thank you, Ted. Today, President Biden is thinking back to school, and U.S. consumers are being a little more cautious with their spending. We'll look into that just ahead. We are right in the middle of back to school season, and today President Biden has a message for kids. Zach Fuller is going to bring us more on the story online at 1 o'clock today. So Zach, what's happening?
Yeah, Jess, you mentioned it. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill Biden were at a local D.C. Elementary school today, welcoming kids not only back to the classroom, but giving them some inspiring words for the school season ahead. Hard to believe that we're already here, Jess, and it's really hard to believe that this upcoming weekend is already Labor Day weekend. But again, you mentioned it, school is back in swing. So we'll hear from both the President and the First Lady coming up here on KTTC News Now. That's at 1 o'clock on our Facebook page and on our live stream.
Yeah, I agree. Where did the summer go? It was a good one, though. Thank you. For a while now, inflation has been affecting the way we spend our money and what items we buy. Here's our Ag Day Minute with the most recent numbers.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. It looks like Americans are becoming a little more cautious these days with their spending. The latest consumer sentiment numbers from the University of Michigan came in slightly lower at 69.5 this month. That's compared to last. Now, that's in line with what economists were expecting. Consumer sentiment had been higher the past 3 months, but it seems that those gains have leveled out now. Experts say inflation remains a concern, although much less so than last summer when prices hit decades-high levels. Lots of people take fish oil supplements for heart health, but a study says 2 recent large clinical trials show the supplements don't actually improve cardiovascular health. The researchers claim you're better off getting omega-3 fatty acids from your diet. They say salmon, mackerel, flaxseed, and chia seeds are good sources, and the study is published in JAMA Cardiology. And a Georgia farmer's soybean field is one for the record books. Alex Harrell farms in Lee County. He just harvested a soybean crop that came in at a whopping 206.7997 bushels to the acre. That's way higher than the previous world record of 190.23 set back in 2019 by another farmer there in Georgia. Everything was double checked and verified by the University of Georgia. So how did he get those bin-busting beans? Harrell says he tissue sampled each week and gave the crop whatever it needed. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or anytime at agweb.com.
Ag Day Minute brought to you by...
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Have to love days like this and take advantage of them when you can, because in a few months you're not going to be able to maybe enjoy a day like this where you can go outside in short sleeves and enjoy a very pleasant late summer day with low humidity. Typical summer warmth. Blue sky outside. That's the current scene from our Lewiston auto camera from Northwest Rochester on Signal Hill. It's 77 officially in Rochester. A little warmer than that here at the studio at this hour. 79 in Dodge Center, Mesa City 78, and already 81 in Red Wing. We will all be in the low 80s in a couple of hours of that sunshine. That light southwest wind helping the cause, but nothing obnoxiously warm. Just a little bit above the seasonal average. 77 is the 30-year climate average. We've already reached that. We have the afternoon of sun to add a little more. It does feel like 79. Air pressure is now steady, 30.01 inches of mercury. Blue sky overhead. Very few clouds over the entire region. We're waiting for this little disturbance to work its way across the map. That will eventually be the focus of maybe some rain chances for a couple of hours heading our way in the evening hours. That may stand as the only rain chance we have for a while. Now, Idalia is right now shortly likely to become a tropical, or go from a tropical storm to a hurricane. Right now, maximum sustained winds 65 miles per hour just east of the Yucatan Peninsula, but pushing northward at 8 miles per hour. It's going to pick up some steam and become a Category 1 hurricane later this evening and tonight. By tomorrow, turning toward Florida, and at this point, it looks like northwest Florida is bracing itself already as a major hurricane. It'll be a Category 3, more than likely, as it makes landfall first thing Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds 115 miles per hour, massive storm surge, and quite a bit of rainfall. And that's moving fairly quickly, though, as that may be some of its saving grace in that situation. At least it's not going to hover and dump copious amounts or excessive rain, more than it might otherwise because of its forward movement, moving out to sea potentially by Thursday. So crossing not just Florida, but Georgia, perhaps parts of the Carolina, and all that time frame, impacting all those areas, though, but moving fairly quickly, moving toward Bermuda by next week, the heart of next week. Warm with some isolated showers, slow warm up this week. We're going to go from 70s after today, we cool to the 70s. But then we're flirting with the 90s by the weekend, so it'll be hot and humid in that longer stretch for us. But overall, very quiet week, and we could use some rain. It's not happening, though, this week, aside from this evening. We'll look ahead at Future Track. Very sparse light rain showers, so a stray shower, rumble of thunder or two between 6, 9, maybe 10 o'clock this evening. Those move out, and there's our rain chances of the week. Not much to talk about there. Behind this front, we cool off to the 50s tonight, staying in the 70s with a cool north breeze tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, and then on Wednesday, a quiet day with mid-70s for highs before we turn things around and start warming things up. There's those rain chances this evening, 6 until about 10 o'clock, sparse rain opportunity. Then we see the loft, the ridge begins to build in, the jet stream buckling northward. By the time we get to Friday and Saturday, here comes the heat. Now, we're not going to feel like last week with those heat index levels of 100, but we are going to see temperatures approaching 90, which is above average certainly for September standards. And for the first week or two of September, we're looking at the Climate Prediction Center saying that we maybe at least have a high probability of being well above the seasonal average. And for us, that means anything warmer than 80 and more than likely approaching 90. And we'll be in that range from Friday all the way until the end of next week. So perhaps the first 7 or 8 days of September will be on the toasty side, feeling like July or early August. Sunny today, though, a pleasant Monday. Southwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour, 81 today. 59 tonight, a stray shower in the evening, and then clearing skies late. And tomorrow, some sunshine, 76. North winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. The 7-day forecast after today, again, no rain chances for quite some time. Might be next Tuesday or Wednesday. We're talking next week anyway. But holiday weekend looks good, though, if you have plans. And that's, I guess, the saving grace here, the silver lining. We need the rain, but I guess we're going to have nice weather instead. Ted's Trivia, what is the capital of Bermuda?
Oh, it's either A or B. I'm going to go with Hamilton. A?
It is Hamilton. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, nice place to be.
It looks amazing, and unfortunately, a lot of times all we hear about Bermuda is when you have a hurricane, and that's all the imagery we see of it. But otherwise, it does look like a really cool place to go.
Yeah, and the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, that's interesting too. It's a whole different subject, but that's fascinating too.
Thank you, Ted. A tragedy off the coast of Australia. 3 U.S. Marines died during a military exercise. We're going to dig into what happened there just ahead. Three U.S. Marines died in an aircraft crash off the coast of Australia on Sunday. This happened while transporting troops during a military exercise. NBC's Sarah James reports from Melbourne.
This morning, recovery efforts are underway on remote Melville Island off the northern coast of Australia. This after the crash of a Marine Osprey. 3 U.S. Marines were killed in that crash. The other 20 people aboard were transported to the mainland, rushed to the city of Darwin, where the hospital there treated them. 8 people remain in that hospital at this hour. The Osprey aircraft was transporting troops during a multinational military exercise that involved the United States, Australia, the Philippines, Indonesia, and East Timor. An investigation is underway into the cause of the accident, which occurred just 1 month after 4 Australian soldiers were lost in a helicopter crash in a separate training exercise between the United States and Australia. The two nations are close allies and have stepped up military cooperation in recent years. Meantime, for those in the Northern Territory where they are taking care of Marines at the Royal Darwin Hospital, they say that the important aspect for them is to make sure that those on the other side of the world know that they are doing all they can to keep their loved ones safe. Back to you.
Some very different world news here. Hundreds of people, some on land, others joining through a live stream, are part of the process of searching for the mythical Loch Ness Monster in Scotland. This was over the weekend, the biggest Nessie hunt in over 50 years. About 100 volunteers were on site in the Scottish Highlands scanning the murky lake waters. Almost 300 signed up to monitor an online live stream of the search organized by a volunteer research team called Loch Ness Exploration. Participants flew drones with infrared cameras over Loch Ness and used a hydrophone to detect any underwater sound. In 2019, scientists analyzed DNA traces to rule out the presence of large animals like any dinosaurs, concluding that the fabled Loch Ness monster could possibly be a giant eel. Ted went looking for that when he was in Scotland in 2006, but didn't find Nessie, so the search continues. A fresh start on life, a story of a unique nonprofit just ahead.
I kept my receipt from last time.
A nonprofit is opening a clinic to provide free and low-income tattoo removals. A nonprofit from Northern California is looking to provide free and low-cost removals for former gang members, incarcerated people, and victims of human trafficking. New Skin Tattoo Removal celebrated its grand opening in Sacramento over the weekend. The organization is also offering radiation mark removal to cancer survivors. What a unique nonprofit and way to help people get a fresh start in life.
Yeah.
Like that story. Ted's joining us now. We also want to revisit the story that we had just going into break, this massive search for Nessie. Your 2000 search was not successful. You said the closest you came was going into the gift shop.
Yeah, they had a giant Nessie outside the gift shop, and they go inside and you know that's one thing. Scotland, and they joke about that sometimes. You know, we've got gifts, we've got great gift shops everywhere you go. They also had their own Nessie ale. A lot of these tourist places have. I don't know if they have somebody brew them their own thing, and this had a little Nessie on the bottle.
Did you try it?
Of course, yeah, it was good. It was a dark ale. It was a Scottish wee heavy, so it was good.
Okay.
And it didn't help me find Nessie, but I was on the excursion, and we all had a good time on the boat, and got to see the sights and experience firsthand the weather. You know, you watch these movies or these documentaries, and all the years I've been watching these searching episodes of In Search Of type things, like back in the 70s they had those old shows, and to see it firsthand is really cool and experience the damp, cool Scottish weather. Yeah, I love it. It was great. Murky, had the perfect day to be out there. But anyway, weather today, hardly that is the opposite end of the murky scale. We are looking at beautiful blue sky, and now you can't see, you won't see any underwater monsters today, but I will say you're not going to see very many clouds. I'll have a lot of sunshine today. There will be a couple of clouds eventually this evening. That'll happen later in the day. There's a chance of maybe a shower and maybe a stray thunderstorm. That time frame does look maybe a little cloudier for a brief moment or two. Look for a high of 81 today with a brief shower in the evening. 7-day forecast, temperatures in the 70s for the middle part of the week. Then we really start turning up the heat. Big batch of warm air comes in for Friday and the holiday weekend. Some people rejoice at that, the one last hurrah for summer, and some people we've been getting comments from viewers not excited about another heat wave, but I can say that we don't have that many more headed our way this year, though.
Changes on the horizon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ted. We hope you have a great afternoon. Midwest Access will be coming at 4 o'clock with Cami Raisler.